young people are coming together. Young people have come together. Young people know what they want and they know where they are going. If some of you are under the illusion that there will be a second, third force coming from some old politicians, the message to take home from this table is we are draining the swamp. We've counted. We know those leaders who have been good for this country. And we thank God Senator Omtata has been one of them. The message to take home from this presser is that we are draining the swamp. The bulk of the leaders you used to know or have known for a long time are changing in 2027, perhaps even earlier. We are draining the swamp. There is this very, very, very sensitive issue of the IDs for young people. I got my nationality with my mother's milk when I was suckling. And someone now tells me that my ID will expire every 3 years. What's wrong with this administration? So I've stopped becoming a Kenyan after every 3 years and then I have to reapply to become a Kenyan after every 3 years. I want us to do some simple calculation. That if you are born today and you are going to live for 80 years, I want you to divide 80 years by 3 and you'll have 26 times. So you will be going to the National Registration Bureau to register for your ID 26 times and each time you'll pay 1,000 bob. This is insanity and we are going to fight it.
Now, nobody trusts William Samoei Ruto. Even today, if he appears on the national TV and tells us that his name is William Samoei Ruto, the majority of the Kenyan people will actually doubt him. That we can sort out this country. We don't need to request William Samoei Ruto to roll out a national healthcare program. He is incapable. We don't want to ask William Samoei Ruto to stop extrajudicial killings. That is his hobby. He thinks about it every day. So the only thing is that the Kenyan people should rally around the National Co-ordination Committee of People's Assembly to form an alternative government that can hold President William Samoei Ruto and his gangs accountable once they are out of power. Because we have to round them up, confiscate the property that they have stolen from the Kenyan people, and make sure that at least they enjoy some jail terms before we can actually nationalize, socialize that wealth that was stolen from the Kenyan people to make sure that we can give dignity.
Because you've seen the government, one, kills its people, now it has gone to sodomizing its young men, and now it wants to ensure that your health is also out of the question, so that we are completely crippled. So I want to specifically talk about the issue of this SHIF scandal that is about to blow. We need to understand very clearly, because now they've forcefully migrated us. I did not migrate. That is the message that I just received from my phone. And I got that prompt to talk about the Kenyans. We have to rally and hold this government accountable, because Parliament cannot keep on imposing people upon us and then trying to play hero by asking them tough questions. As young people, we've seen what happened to Bruce in the coast, a young man who was sodomized just for calling out a governor. There could be legal channels to be followed if any mistake was done, but this is not a thing that needs to be talked through settlement. We cannot justify sexual violence or sexual assault as a tool of anything. It is outright violent, it is absolutely wrong, and we want to condemn it. And as young people, we are saying that if in a week we have not been given clear directive, we've not seen people arrested and arraigned in court, we are coming to occupy Mombasa. I want to reiterate this, that we are not going to bother the entire nation while we know that this particular problem, that our brother and friend blogger Bruce was sexually assaulted in Mombasa.
Young people went to the streets to fight for a good country. Graves are scattered all over this country. Some parents are still mourning their loved ones, people who stood for these nations. But we have a useless motion going on in Parliament, impeaching one of the partners in crime for just banging a table. What about that person who ordered for the killing of many Kenyans, of many young Kenyans? Should we be having a discussion, in fact, about it? That is the person we should not even be calling the President of this Republic of Kenya. Because if we are impeaching his partner in crime for banging a table, what about the graves we have all over the country? What about the pain those parents are feeling, are mourning? The students who are in universities, the students who had bright futures, as we speak, they are now in the graves. From the time he took over the government, everything he did he will account for it. So he should not take like he has an immunity of such a kind. We will make sure everything, all the people who died, all the young people who died, we will make sure everything has been accounted for.
Those who don't have cash have to face the consequences and have recorded deaths in hospitals in Nairobi of people who could otherwise have accessed treatment, but their NHIF, which is even paid for, some have paid for the whole year, has been incapacitated. Or so that cannot be allowed to continue. And we are at a point where we are going to demand, why was NHIF being replaced? Why do you replace something with a good thing with a bad thing? What is the genius in this? But now from what we are seeing is that they just are coming up with a program to be able to steal the premiums from the people. And as for taxation, I want to tell Mr. Ruto, you have gotten Kenyans to a point where they can't pay. And therefore, if you can't pay, we won't pay. Can't pay, won't pay. And we are just at the tipping point whereby we can't pay taxes, and therefore we won't pay. Other than that, we are going to run the campaign on stopping the steal. We cannot just, it's not entertainment. We are not going to be watching TV every day. You hear Chief, billions are gone. You hear Adani, billions are gone. You hear this, you hear the other. So we are going to mobilize. We are going to stop the steal, and we are going to move. There are some who have been fooling themselves that the Gen Z pricing has been defeated. It was not defeated. The Gen Z pricing was not supposed to be a sprint. That was one battle that had to be taken on, and with the finance bill, it was quashed. There are many, many more battles lined up. This war is not over.